Appreciate the witnesses for being here and a very important conversation that we're having. It's obviously important to Texas after the flooding of last July, and that's one of the many examples I think we can point to of why FirstNet is so critically important. My perspective will come kind of from not just the energy and commerce lane, but also from the homeland security perspective as well. So I'll start with Mr. Agnew, and thank you for being here. I want to talk about just assessing who's on the network, assessing which local and state partners have access, and if we wanted to know which folks in our area were currently accessed, how does that work? And what if we don't have all the information, then what do we need to do, either via statute or some other means to know that information?
We appreciate that question, and we continue to work with first responders to allow us to communicate who's on the network. We understand it's so important from a mutual aid perspective. To sign a mutual aid is when one county goes to another county to support. And we are working with the authority for a process to more seamlessly get the approvals from each of the public safety agencies to say, yes, you can use my name. Right now, there's restrictions for our ability to do that through the FCC proprietary network information, but we are working collaboratively with the authority to make sure that'll happen. It's so important for public safety to know that they're on the network, so we see the value in it.
Do you think that's something in the reauthorization that we need to add to the statute provisions, which is kind of a transparency piece of who's on?
Because both AT&T and the FirstNet Authority are in agreement that this needs to be done. I don't think it's necessary to add it in, but it's something that we're working on.
Okay, yeah, we'll continue to look at that because I think that's key in just knowing who's on the net, right. Who's as a fighter pilot, it's like who's on. That's and right. Who are we talking to, and, right. And who's not on, more importantly.
Right.
Thank you for that. I represent AST in Midland, Texas, and proud of the work that they're doing to deliver, another domain of connectivity. And I think that layer helps in remote areas, especially like we experienced during the flooding. I think the Senate held a hearing, and the relationship with AT&T and AST was raised last week. So would love to hear in any details that you're willing to talk to us about with that relationship and how it relates to FirstNet and another layer of connectivity.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Congressman. The beauty of this public-private partnership is when AT&T makes an investment, a FirstNet user takes advantage of it. And so the investment that actually is being made in AST is AT&T. Now my group works back with AT&T, and we ensure that anything that is deployed from AT&T meets the needs of first responders. So when AST goes up, when it fully launches, it will be for first responders, a version. It will have priority, preemption. We talk about push-to-talk, mission critical. It'll go well beyond texting. And we're excited. We're gonna open, at the end of this month, we're gonna open up customers signing up for trials specific to public safety, and it's gonna launch first with public safety customers, specifically FirstNet customers. And we're more than happy to talk to any member in detail about specifically what the service will offer.
That's fantastic. It's another domain, especially in rural America, that will help provide that connectivity. So, Sheriff, thank you for your service. I was stationed at Tyndall Air Force Base just to the east of you for many years, and want to talk about a couple of things. The relationship between the FirstNet CEO, the board, and NTIA. My understanding is that the board and the chair provide recommendations and strategic guidance to the CEO, but those are not necessarily binding. And in practice, this could mean that the CEO doesn't necessarily have to follow some of the recommendations. Is that accurate? And then as your time as board chair, have there been instances where recommendations maybe didn't necessarily get to the goal line?
I think because the position of the position of executive director wasn't originally contemplated, and it left that ambiguity, that the executive director can, and quite frankly in the past has, again, directly went against what was the will of the board. I'll be specific. there was a multi-million-dollar task order, for which we said, I want to be clear, not the current executive director, but that we said, we as the board, based on an executive order from the President of the United States that we considered to be binding to FirstNet, should not have been signed. That was against the will of the board. Whatever rationale, whatever reason that was, it just didn't work for us.
Thank you. My time has expired. AT&T, thank you for taking the initiative on this and fielding something that is super important. I yield back.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, and now I call on Representative Peters for